Greater Than 0% is a 501c3 nonprofit that's on a mission to share stories of organizations from around the world that are changing lives. We have weekly episodes featuring amazing nonprofits and monthly episodes interviewing top business executives. You can find us at gtzp.org on your preferred streaming or social media platforms.
Alrighty, so thanks everyone for tuning into this episode. Today we're graced by the presence of Jingwen's son, who's a co-founder and director of operations at Lighthouse DC. Jingwen, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Joseph. Happy to be here.
All right, so we're dealing with some minor technical difficulties, but I think we figured it out, Jingwen. So let's get it kicked off and start us off by sharing a little bit about the mission of Lighthouse DC.
Sure, of course. So Lighthouse DC, in a nutshell, we help create homes. We help creating homes for former homelessness. And sorry, let me start it again.
No, it's
Were you
fine.
able to do edits afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So Lighthouse DC, in a nutshell, we help formerly homeless and low-income DC residents who have already secured housing, by helping them to create a home environment by providing and transporting furniture to their location. So we're part of Housing First approach, as the name suggests. All right, as the name suggests, the first step of getting people back on their feet and is to give them housing units instead of the traditional job first approach. Now the next step is providing furniture. So a lot of times our clients, the people we help, they don't have any resources to go out to the furniture bank to get the furniture they needed, and they're still sitting on the floor. They don't have any basic household items that we take for granted, in your living room or in your bedroom, and that's when Lighthouse jumps in to help them create a home.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for that background. So before we get into more details of the organization, why you? Why is this something that you're passionate about, and why is this something you co-founded?
Yeah, of course. So I'm not a DC native per se, but it is my, I spent majority of my adult life here in DC. I came to DC for school and spent the past 10 plus years in DC. And when I arrived, it was shocking to me that there were homeless residents, people everywhere on the street. I went to George Washington University, which is part of downtown DC, right by the White House, right by other government buildings, and there were homeless people just sleeping in front of White House and Capitol. So it's kind of ironic to me as a newcomer, first time coming to DC, and that kind of touched me on what I can do to help this city. As time goes by, this city becomes more like a home to me, given that I spent so much time here. So I wanted to do something to help eliminate the situation. I know for a fact that I, by myself, or with my nonprofit partner, Brian, we cannot solve this issue by ourselves. But by creating a nonprofit like Lighthouse, by identifying what's needed in this system, we are doing our parts to help solve the situation, the issue here.
Yeah. When were you all founded? When did you originally found the organization?
We co-founded Lighthouse in 2017, spring/summer of 2017.
Yeah. So talk to me about the initial start of the organization. What were some of the early on activities that you started with?
Yeah. So we started off by trying to figure out where the gap was. All right. We know Housing First approach works. We know there's a gap, but we'll try to identify where that is. And then there was a DC resident reach out to us, say, hey, here's a high schooler graduating from high school, top of his class. He reached out and said, hey, I'm graduating soon, and my mom and I really need furniture in our home. We don't have anything. So we did that case as a case study, or try to figure out if that's something that we want to do, and if that's something that's a gap in the system. And we figured out that that is a gap in the system, and that was not just a one case situation. It's across the board. when people are housed, they kind of, just go into this empty house. And there are wraparound services that provides a lot of support, like mental health, career training, further education, but the middle part is being neglected, whereas, they are sleeping on the floor. They don't have much in the house they got provided to.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the rest is history from 2017 to now.
Yeah. It's a lot of growth, a lot of, try and error, but here we are now, 5-6 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So from the beginning to now to today, what are some of the kind of operational aspects of your organization that you've like systematized that are reoccurring, right? So like, what's the process of somebody who might need your help to reach out, and kind of what is their experience in that journey? I guess we could take first that experience is, um, say I'm somebody that needs your help and your services. What's the process for me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so before we touch on that, I wanted to just touch a little bit on how Lighthouse operates. My background is supply chain management. First I went to school for international affairs, then I went to school for supply chain management in business school. So we want Lighthouse to be very efficient and very lean. And that being said, that model is helpful when you first start an organization or a company because you don't have much resource or much of anything to begin with, especially for a nonprofit, you don't have investors. So we want to make sure that Lighthouse is lean. That being said, we don't have a vetting department, and vetting is an important part of the operations. We want to make sure that your donation, anyone's donation to us, are spent on the people who truly need the service. Now, going back to your question, Joseph, you as a client will be referred to us by one of our verified partners, who are oftentimes housing providers. Way to housing, Jubilee Housing in DC. Those housing providers, it's their job to find clients or homeless residents housing, right? And afterwards, it's not their specialty to provide them with furniture, but they've already vetted the clients. The clients often receive government benefits, and housing providers do all those work for us. Then we don't need to duplicate their work. Now you're referred to us by one of our housing provider partners. Then we will give your case manager the intake form. Basically, the intake form will include some of your basic information for us to collect those data points, and also, most importantly, a list of furniture we can provide. And it's a checklist for you. You just check it off. I need 4 chairs, 1 table, a couch. Then you're on our wait list. Now, we want the wait list to be as short as possible, but we're barely scratched the surface here in DC. So you will be on the wait list for a little while, depending on what time of the year you're referred to us. Then when time comes, one of my coworkers will reach out to your case manager and say, hey, your client Joseph is on top of our list, and those are 3 delivery dates we can provide to Joseph, and please let me know which day he will be home for his furniture delivery. And the day comes, we will talk directly to you as our client, make sure you're home, make sure you give us the instruction, or our moving team instructions on how to get to your place, and we drop off furniture either in front of your door or in your apartment/house, based on your preference. And the goal here is you don't have to worry about anything in between, from renting to hiring movers to selecting furniture. We do all those for you, so you don't have to worry about all of those and the expense associated with those tasks.
Yeah, the expense is huge. Furniture these days is really expensive. Yeah. So how do you usually procure the furniture as a part of this? And what partnerships do you have there?
Great question. So the majority of our furniture come from, I would say, individual donors. DC is quite a trendy city. People come and go, and switch locations. So individuals who are moving, who are downsizing, or just during the pandemic, right? We all have our house projects and renovation. So people might be switching out perfectly good furniture. It might be a piece that you don't want anymore, but doesn't mean that piece is not a good piece of furniture for someone else to use. So
Yeah.
instead of landfill, people would submit forms to us, say, hey, I want to donate this and that. And we go and collect those furniture pieces from our donors, or they could drop it off at our warehouse. We also have partnerships with other similar nonprofits in the area. A Wider Circle, for example, in Silver Spring is a great partner of Lighthouse, and they being the suburb, they have bigger warehouse space and can accommodate more donations. So we will pull inventory from a Wider Circle as well, and then we'll deliver furniture for people who go to Wider Circle, say, "Hey, I want furniture, and I cannot, I don't have money for U-Haul or hiring labor." So it's a win-win partnership for us and for
Yeah.
others.
Wow. I'd love to hear some of the stories of the people that you've served since 2017. What are some memorable stories that you've experienced? I'm sure early on when you said you were lean, it was just, you and your co-founder doing a lot of the collection and delivery and everything. So from then until now, I'd love to hear some examples of stories of some of the people that you've served.
Yeah, definitely. So I was in the field on the ground running the operation, day-to-day operation, meeting every one of our clients until about 2 years ago. So until then, every name you throw at me, I'll be able to tell you the story of the delivery of their personal story. But there's
Yeah.
some memorable things that I've seen and heard. One of the things is one of our volunteers came to me, be like, "Hey, it was very meaningful. We delivered nightstands and lamps to this family, and the kids were just thrilled. They're like, "Well, I have my own nightstand now, and I have a lamp." It was such a thing that we take for granted, right? Our kids or ourselves, you walk into your bedroom, there's a nightstand, there's a lamp. Not something we think about, but that comes to show that the work we do is really meaningful for people that benefit from it. And those stories are, almost daily. We will hear something like that from our volunteers, from our staff, and seeing it's such a. I almost want to say it's almost like an instant gratification. Right? You go to
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
deliver, they're happy. Deliver the furniture, they're happy. You see the results. So not to say the long-term benefits to those families, it's been proven that a more stable home creates a more stable environment for the people we serve, and they can really, go to work rested and go to class next day fully rested, and the benefits goes on and on.
Yeah. Wow. 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 A couple questions. So tracking your impact, have you been able to kind of track how many people that you've kind of delivered furniture for, or maybe how many pieces of furniture, like the total weight? I've seen some nonprofits be like, we've like donated or distributed like 10 tons of furniture, some like metric like that. So I'm wondering, what are you
Mhm.
tracking currently, and
Yeah,
what have been your recent
we
numbers?
don't
Yeah.
really track the. Hey, Joseph, are you still there?
Yeah. Yep. I'm still here. Can you hear me?
All right, we're here.
All right, perfect.
Um, yes, and they're still okay. It's still recording. So, yes. So, did you hear the question, or do you want me to repeat it?
Yeah, I think I heard it.
Cool. Tracking.
Great. So yeah, we don't really track our furniture in a way, or donation to our clients in a way that it's by pound or anything like that. But we do track how many households and residents we helped over years.
Yes.
I believe we're at about 5,000 residents at this point.
Jeez.
Over the past 6 years. And the number by itself might not seem as impressive as
That's very impressive.
Thank you.
It's huge.
Thank
Yes.
you. There are always goals to look upon, right? There are people helping thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. But given that we're still pretty young as an organization, I'm pretty happy with that number. And just to give you a idea, the first year in 2017, I believe we helped 169 residents that year. And last year we helped over 1,000 DC residents. So over the past 5-6 years, we tenfolded our impact, and we're growing rapidly and still trying to stay as lean as possible, just so resources are being used where needed.
Yeah. Well, that's a good transition to the next topic. What future plans? What do you hope the organization looks like in the next 5 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's always exciting to think about the future. So we want to grow the organization both in a way and their intertwined our staff size, and the more staff we have, the more people we can help. Mm-hmm. And we want to expand geographically as well. It's called Lighthouse DC because we're in DC. We started Lighthouse in DC, and we only serve DC residents for 99% of time. But going forward, we are looking into ways to tackle the same issue in adjacent areas. For example, Maryland, Virginia, and as you know, DC is quite small of an area. So it wouldn't be hard for us to do, but we want to keep in mind that we're not spreading too thin. Right? It's we do what we do well, and we want to make sure every step we take expansion-wise are necessary steps. They are helpful to the community.
Yeah, and when you say expand, do you mean expand the residents that you're supporting, or expand where you're collecting furniture from, or what aspect of the organization?
Yeah, both. When you think about the operation, supply, demand being people who need help, and supply where we get furniture. And so I think it makes sense to expand on both sides. And going to the suburbs, we have very established area right by DC, in DC and around DC, McLean area, Bethesda, one's in Virginia, one's in Maryland. Those are very established neighborhoods, and that's where we can get a lot of perfectly good furniture that we can then redistribute to people in need.
Yeah. I was so I was talking to one of the partners of yours that I think were initially connected us, a Community Forklift, and they were when we were speaking with them, we were talking about obviously like providing furniture is a huge impact for the cost perspective, not having to pay for it for some of the people that you're serving, but the quality aspect of the furniture is also something that should be mentioned. Of this isn't furniture that's going to break in. A lot of this furniture is not furniture that's just going to wear down and break in a couple of years. It's like furniture that's been around for decades sometimes and will be around for a long time. So you're talking about like the long-term usage and in kind of taking that into the cost perspective of people not having to rebuy furniture. And you already mentioned this kind of the carbon footprint reduction of kind of reusing this furniture, this quality furniture, is also a huge impact on the environment. So there's like so many things that are at play that Lighthouse is having an impact on. It's really cool to see the full picture of it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and definitely, the environmental side, and also furniture not going to landfill and being reused. That part is huge. Right. Recently, we've been getting a lot of bulk hotel donations.
Yeah.
Through us or through our partner Wider Circle, Community Forklift, and those are great furniture. It's just maybe a little bit outdated style-wise, but very functional and solid pieces. And another thing to add there is whenever a client who we served before comes back and say, hey, my furniture broke again, or I moved again, I couldn't afford a mover, we will provide furniture to them again. Wow. It's not like a once a lifetime experience. They come back as long as they provide a reasonable explanation on where the furniture went. A lot of them they have kids, and kids break things. So
yes. Absolutely. Yes. Those side tables you mentioned with the lamps sometimes get knocked over.
Oh yeah, easily. How many kids, right? I don't know how many lamps I knocked over myself.
That's true. Awesome. So people that are listening that are inspired and want to get engaged, what type of engagement are you typically looking for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think very standard volunteer opportunities. Right? The more volunteers we have, the better. So we can save costs on hiring movers and hiring people, generally speaking. Mm-hmm. And then, monetary donations. We're only able to do what we do because of your support from our supporters who are willing to able to donate money to us. Yeah. And then through events, we have our end of year event. We have our anniversary party actually coming up soon. In next month or so. We haven't really advertised or published it yet, but you will be able to see it on our website in the next few weeks. So those are some main channels that you can, engage. But of course, please feel free to reach out to me or to one of our coworkers. You'll see our emails online, and we can figure something out depending on what you can provide and what kind of volunteer activities you would be willing to do, happy to do.
Yeah. What are the main social media platforms that you'd recommend people to look at that you have a presence?
Yeah, so I would say Facebook, mainly Facebook. Yeah. And we haven't been updating it in a while, but we are planning on reviving Facebook and other social media channels. Of course, subscribe to our newsletter. We send out monthly newsletter updates on what we do and clients we help, all those good stuff.
Yep, and lighthousedc.org, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jingwen, is there anything else you want to leave us with, or anything maybe we didn't cover that you want to call out before we wrap up here?
No, I think we covered a lot today. Thank you for your time and having me here.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for your time as well. The work that you're doing is amazing. And I think it's something that people sometimes don't think of is like, yes, a lot of times the government provides housing, but sometimes it's just, an empty room or maybe a room with a mattress, or it's kind of just the bare minimum, right? So to kind of maintain humanity, it's kind of a term, and to live, a comfortable life, that these things are important for people. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Jingwen, thank you so much for your time. We're honored to share this story, and people that are listening, get engaged and reach out if you have any follow-up questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Greater Than 0%. To find more episodes or to have your organization featured on the podcast, you can find us at gtzp.org on your preferred streaming or social media platforms. Find your cause with Greater Than 0%.